So the film starts with Yelena, who works as a secret agent for CIA Director Valentina. But despite this, she doesn't see any purpose in her life. She feels like she is living in a void, living in a world where there is nothing but darkness. She feels this because her sister had died, whose grief she had put in her heart. Here we see Valentina in a press conference, on whom it is alleged that she is experimenting secretly to turn humans into superhumans, which is illegal. In her defense, Valentina only says that I am only trying to save this world, because now the Avengers will not come to save this world. The court now decides that every institute under Valentina should be investigated, after which, her punishment or withdrawal of the allegation will be decided. Here we see Elena at a research center in Malaysia, who came here to erase evidence against Valentina. All the labs were destroyed by CIA agents which were being run by Valentina, and this was the last lab left. Yelena scares the scientist here so much that he kills himself. After which Yelena herself comes out of the building and destroys this building with a remote control bomb. After completing her mission, Yelena goes to her stepfather Alexei and tells him about her sad life. Alexei advises her that why don't you do such missions that have a special purpose? Such missions that benefit people, and they appreciate her for her work. Yelena liked Alexei's advice. She also talked to her boss and said that now I don't want to do any more secret missions. She now has to do her missions in front of everyone. Valentina agrees, but on one condition, that she has to do a secret mission for the last time, after which she is independent for herself. She gives her the address of a secret vault and tells her that an agent named Ava Star is inside that vault, who has the power to make herself disappear. She is stealing our secret research from that vault, and you will have to end her while stopping. Yelena agrees for the mission and is shown near that vault for a while. When she goes inside the vault, she does not see Ava anywhere, but a boy named John attacks her. And at the same time, a third agent also comes here and attacks John. On the other hand, Ava also comes out and kills this third agent after attacking. For a while, Yelena is confused about what is happening here. Meanwhile, a frightened boy comes in front of them, and then all the doors of the vault are closed. And now Yelena started to realize that Valentina has cheated her. Through all these agents, she has erased all the evidence against her, and now she wants to kill them, because these are the people who know the truth about Valentina. Yelena tells all the agents present here that Valentina has conspired against us so that we kill each other. John, Yelena, and that frightened boy who was found in this vault were trapped inside the vault. But when Ava, who was a ghost, tries to get out of here, it is known that she has also been trapped here through sound waves. On the other hand, Valentina is shown who orders to blast the vault. Here in the vault, these people were also trying to get out of here. Yelena had planned that first Ava will come out of here. To get her out, they start looking for the battery of the sound barrier here. Valentina turns on the time bomb from behind. But fortunately, these people first find the battery of the sound barrier and deactivate it. And in this way, Ava comes out of the vault and opens the door and saves all three of them. Now when Valentina knew that they were alive, she immediately ordered them to kill them. In the CCTV, she also saw Bob, the frightened man who was found in the vault. Valentina didn't know about him, so she immediately asked her assistant to get information about him. And she also tells some other secret agents to get them killed. But she didn't know that her current driver was actually Yelena's dad Alexei, who had known the location of the vault and her entire plan. Here in the vault, John asks that man named Bob, "What are you doing here?" So he said, "I don't remember anything, I just remember that I donated my blood for a medical study. After that, I have restored my senses in front of all of you." John thought that Bob was lying, so he started hitting him. But Yelena stops the fight between them and says that this cannot go on. If we have to get out of here, we will have to work as a team. John breaks a wall with his strength to get out of here and makes his way to the lift. But the lift was also shut down due to the power cut. John suggests an idea to all of them that we can go up by joining our waists. On the other hand, Valentina comes to know that Bob was that person on whom her experiments were tested. As far as she remembered, all the test subjects were killed. Then she remembers that if Bob is alive, then one of her experiments has been successful on Bob. Knowing this, she is very surprised and goes towards the vault. These people also somehow climb up through the lift and notice that the people of Valentina have come to kill them. Valentina had now told her men that I have to catch those 4 alive. She goes inside the vault by making a small blast outside the team gate. Inside, Yelena explains to that man named Bob that if you want to stay alive, you have to stay behind me. Bob was looking very worried here. He says to Yelena, I think this is happening because of my wrongdoings. Yelena said, don't think like that. We all have endured something very bad in life or have committed. Now these people were talking that their enemies entered. They heard the sound of hitting and beating. They went outside and saw that John had dropped all the incoming enemies at once. Here, Valentina sends another group of her men behind them. At this moment, Yelena, who was a great fighter, saves Bob from these opponents, killing them all. And then John also comes in front of them. Now they have to get out of here, so Yelena wears the uniform of the men of Valentina and comes out in disguise. They were going to run away from here in a car, but a guard stopped them. Quarrel begins between John and that guard. Taking the gun, Bob fires his gun into the air coming out of the car and captures everyone's attention. He wanted to tell everyone something, but the guard thought he was a threat to all of them. That's why all the guards opened fire on him. Although Valentina was trying to stop them from behind. After all, she wanted to see how successful her experiment was. But now her experiment had flatlined. Yelena and John are also sad to see this. But taking advantage of the situation, they both run away from here. On the other hand, we are shown Bob, who was still alive despite being shot by thousands of bullets. He had come into life again and all the bullet wounds were completely healed. Now the soldiers open the fire on him again and he flies in the air like a rocket. Standing in the clouds, he continued to think about something and then suddenly fainted there. He fell down so fast because of the gravity. As a result, Yelena and John's car flipped. These 3, Yelena, John and Ava, were very surprised to see this man and his strength. Then John told them that this is Valentina's experiment to make a superhuman. And I came to the vault to remove all evidence relevant to this. Now all of them are very surprised to know this. On the other hand, in the morning, Valentina asks her assistant to take Bob alive from here. And on the other hand, she orders the other 3 secret agents to be killed. In the morning, Alexei had also come here. Yelena was surprised to see him, so Alexei told her that I had heard about Valentina's plan to kill all of you. And from her words, I also found out about this vault. Your life was in danger, I just came to tell you this. He has known this since yesterday. These people were about to leave from here in Alexei's car when Valentina's men came from behind and started shooting at them. John also tried to save them from his shield, but the shield was no longer working. These people would have died, but a hero entered from behind and destroyed Valentina's men's cars while firing bullets. Scene shifts, we were shown Valentina and Bob in the watchtower. Bob was very worried about his circumstances. Seeing Valentina, he gets even more scared and starts saying ill to her. So Valentina explains to him, look, I have turned your boring life into a valued one. Now you have more power than 100 people. You can do anything. Saying this, Valentina touched his hand and as soon as she touched him, she reached the void. She reached the dark world of her thoughts, where she remembered her childhood terror when her enemies shot and killed her dad. Then she removes her hand and asks her assistant to come and hold a press conference. On the other hand, we are shown that the man who helped those 4 was now holding those 4. He tells these 4 that you actually have to testify against Valentina. These people agree with him, but tell him to leave us for now. It is very important for us to stop Valentina. He had told him about Valentina and all her experiments, through which Bob had become most powerful. But until now, this man was still not believing their words. That's when this man gets a call from Valentina's assistant, who tells him that Valentina is going to hold a press conference about Bob. He understood that Valentina had made something very dangerous, which could have put the world in danger. That's why he now tells all these people, "Will you help me stop Valentina and Bob?" This man's name was Bucky. Yelena tells Bucky that we are not as good as you are. "How can we do this?" Bucky says, "I was like you before. I have also done horrible things. But then I started a new life. I did a good job. If you support me, you will be able to live with your head up." Hearing this, everyone is ready to accompany him. On the other hand, Valentina is shown training Bob. She was teaching Bob to control everything with the power of his mind and body. At the same time, all those people also reach Valentina's watchtower to catch her, where they first fight with Valentina's guard. And then the voice of Valentina is heard in the speaker. And she says, "Come up. I was already waiting for you." When these people go up, Valentina makes Bob wear a uniform in front of them, and tells that this Bob has more power than 10 Avengers. Valentina says that she has named it Sentry. And Valentina has welcomed all these people here, because she has held a press conference in a while, in which her Sentry will fight with all these people, and will exhibit his strength. Seeing his good work, the allegations and restrictions put on him will also end. Yelena thought all this was very wrong. She tried to explain to Sentry, "Don't do as such." On the contrary, he started explaining to Yelena that you should also join Valentina's team. Alexei enraged, listening to this, and he attacked Sentry. But Sentry's slight push was enough to make him throw on the wall. Now all these people attack Sentry together. But Sentry stops them while showing one of his hands, and also makes them fall. Seeing this, Yelena understands that they can't beat Sentry even as being a unit. To save their energies, they decide to leave. And Valentina orders Sentry to kill them after searching one by one. He tells Valentina that he won't do anything like this, because they don't have the strength to face me. That's why I have no threat from them. And I'm not going to obey you. You want to kill them. This is your problem. But I won't kill them. Yelena and all her friends were at the bottom. Yelena was considering herself a loser, and she calls everyone a loser and leaves. Everyone leaves, disappointed with her words, while Alexei goes after her to convince. We see that Sentry felt his strength and started to consider himself as God. Seeing this, Valentina understands that he is becoming a threat to them. That's why Valentina decides to kill him with her kill switch. But Sentry senses this and grabs her neck to stop. The kill switch falls from Valentina's hand, while Sentry had almost strangled Valentina. Before Valentina dies, Valentina's assistant picks up the kill switch and presses a button. We see that Sentry disappears at once. Actually, he didn't die. He went into the void. He went into such a dimension where there are only shadows and negativity. Or we can say that his existence was like a shadow in this world. He flies into the sky. Seeing him, when the guard shoots him, he turns him into a shadow with the gesture of his hand. Some people had also come to attack him by the helicopter. He kills them, turning them into shadow. And the helicopter crashes. Because the helicopter crashed on a building, the building also started collapsing. And the lives of innocent people were in danger. Yelena and her entire group started saving people's lives here. While saving everyone, they remove the big walls of the building and make their place in everyone's hearts. Everyone claps for them. So all of them feel content. Now these people didn't come out of this feeling that there was another problem here. Sentry started making people a shadow here from his shadow. He started spreading negativity and darkness here. It wasn't easy to kill him. Yelena knew this. That's why she handed herself over to the void. That is, she handed herself over the negativity. And she also became a shadow. Seeing this, Alexei lost his senses in grief. Yelena wanted to talk to Bob, going there. But as soon as she came to her senses in the void, that is, in this dark world, she showed her worst memory. When she had become the cause of a little girl's death for the first time. She couldn't get out of this memory for a long time. And as soon as she left, she had another unpleasant memory. She had to meet Bob. She was constantly looking for Bob here. And in one memory, she saw Bob. Here Yelena talks to Bob and says, "Why didn't you stop all this?" Then Bob says, "It's not me. It's the negativity inside me that became my part because of loneliness." Here Yelena also sees Bob's sad memories of the past, where his dad used to be very cruel to him. Seeing this, Yelena felt sympathy for him, and she sat down and caught Bob's hand. These two were about to meet together. Then the negativity started killing them both. And before the negativity killed them both, here all their other companions also reach, fighting their past, who also saves them both, and decide that they will have to get Bob out of this void, for which they have to fight all Bob's disturbing memories. Yelena and Bob agree, and they fight all Bob's unpleasant memories. They finally reach that memory when in Valentina's lab. The experiments were conducted on him. Sitting on the experiment table in this memory, they don't see Bob, but they see the void. They see the negative person inside Bob, with which Bob decides to fight himself. He loses his senses to fight him, and hits him a lot. But he didn't know that by hitting him, he will also become a void himself, before he turns completely black. Yelena grabs him, extricating herself from the downside, and makes him realize that he is not alone. All people instill courage in them, and coming out of the negativity, and catch Bob, and promise him that they will always be with him. When Bob believes that he is not alone in this world, suddenly the negativity inside him becomes less, and the void, his inner negative person, who had started to appear, it also begins to vanish. As he had spread the darkness throughout the world, it also begins to disappear. Due to the emergence of light in the world, transformed shadowy people again turn into humans. The interesting fact was this: Bob had forgotten everything because of his impaired memory. Now when the whole group was together, they decide to end Valentina, where they see that Valentina was near a curtain. When Yelena moves forward to end her, she sees that behind the curtain, Valentina had arranged a press conference, bringing this group in front of everyone. As the new Avengers, she introduces them, and she says that all the accusations against me, they were wrong. I have been working on this project for years. Yelena was understanding her cleverness. She also threatened Valentina. She felt comforted, but she also takes a sigh of relief, because now finally, she will get credit for her missions and people's love. It comes up at the end of the movie that now these Avengers have got a new threat through the satellite, with which they will have to fight. And this is how the movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel Mr. Movie Recap.